Hello, and welcome back to The Lost Archive. In the last episode, we witnessed how the Great Depression tore apart the Weimar Republic. Factories closed, millions lost their jobs, and chaos ruled the streets. The German people were tired, humiliated, and desperate for hope. And then came a man who promised to rebuild everything, to give Germany back its pride, its power, and its future. This is the story of how Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party rebuilt a shattered economy and turned Germany into one of the most formidable war machines the world had ever seen. So let's start. Germany in 1933 was a broken nation. 6 million people were unemployed. Inflation and hunger had crushed the middle class. The country that once stood as an industrial power after World War I now struggled to feed its people. When Hitler came to power that same year, he inherited a nation in ruins, but one burning with anger and ready for change. And Hitler understood one thing. If he could fix the economy, he could win the hearts of the people. The Nazis called it national rebirth. But beneath that slogan was a carefully planned economic transformation, one that would prepare Germany for war while making it look like a miracle of recovery. The promise of work and revival. One of the first things Hitler did was to attack the issue of unemployment. He launched huge public works projects, constructing highways, bridges, railways, and public buildings. The most famous of these was the Autobahn, a network of highways that stretched across the country. On the surface, it was a symbol of progress, of modernity, but in reality, it was also a preparation for war. The Autobahn allowed Germany to transport troops and equipment faster than ever before. The Nazis also introduced programs like the Reich Labor Service, where young men were required to work on these projects. It created jobs, built infrastructure, and most importantly, it gave the illusion of national unity and purpose. Rearmament in disguise. But while the world saw new roads and smiling workers, behind the scenes, Germany was quietly rearming. The Treaty of Versailles had strictly forbidden Germany from building weapons, tanks and aircraft, but Hitler's government ignored those restrictions. Factories that once made farming equipment now secretly produced guns and ammunition. Car manufacturers like Opel and Daimler-Benz were redirected to design military vehicles. By 1936, German engineers were building planes under civilian company names, training pilots in secret bases, and testing weapons hidden from international inspectors. To fund all this, Hitler's government poured billions into military contracts, creating an artificial economic boom driven by rearmament. State control and economic manipulation. To manage this rapid growth, the Nazis brought the economy under tight state control. Private businesses were allowed to exist, but only if they followed Nazi goals. Industrial giants like E.G. Farben, Krupp, and Siemens were essential partners in the regime. They produced chemicals, steel, and machinery for the military build-up. In return, they received huge government contracts and protection from competition. Wages were fixed, prices were controlled, labour unions were banned. Instead, workers were forced into the German Labour Front, a state-run organisation that replaced free unions with Nazi ideology. People were told they were working not for money, but for the fatherland. Propaganda films showed happy workers building the future of Germany. Posters said, "Arbeit macht frei," work sets you free. The message was clear. Individual rights didn't matter. Only the nation did. The illusion of prosperity. By the late 1930s, unemployment had nearly vanished. To the average German, it looked like a miracle. People had jobs, factories were running, and national pride was restored. But behind this success was massive government debt and manipulation. Germany wasn't truly recovering. It was spending its way to war. Hitler's finance minister, Hjalmar Schacht, used creative economic tricks to hide the costs. He introduced Mefo bills, a secret credit system that allowed the government to pay companies for military production without recording the expenses publicly. It was brilliant and dangerous, because this system only worked as long as Germany kept expanding, conquering new lands to fuel its economy. Agriculture and autarky Hitler didn't just want economic recovery. He wanted autarky, or total self-sufficiency. Germany was to depend on no one. He pushed for farmers to produce more food, scientists to find substitutes for imported goods, and industries to recycle materials. Rubber, oil, and metal were all scarce, so German chemists developed synthetic versions of them. It wasn't enough to sustain a peaceful nation forever, but it was enough to prepare for war. Every factory, every farm, every worker, all were being aligned toward one goal: military strength. From industry to army. And this economic transformation soon showed its results on the battlefield. By 1939, Germany had one of the most advanced and modern militaries in the world. Its industries produced thousands of tanks, aircraft, and submarines. The same workers who once built roads were now building panzer divisions. The same engineers who designed bridges were now designing fighter planes. Hitler's promise of work and bread had been fulfilled, but it came at the cost of peace. The jobs, the factories, the growth, all were built upon the foundation of war preparation. Propaganda and national unity. While the economy transformed, propaganda ensured that people stayed loyal. Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, flooded Germany with speeches, posters, and films showing Hitler as a saviour. The message was simple. Germany was back on its feet because of Hitler. He had restored dignity and order, and anyone who questioned that was an enemy of the state. Fear and pride worked hand in hand. The German people believed in the miracle, not realizing it was fueled by militarization, exploitation, and the coming storm of war. The road to war. By 1938, Germany's economy was no longer just industrial. It was militarized. Factories were producing tanks instead of tractors, and aircraft instead of passenger planes. Hitler began testing his power, first by occupying the Rhineland, then annexing Austria, and later Czechoslovakia. Each success brought new resources and new industries under Nazi control. The economy now fed directly into the war machine, unstoppable, aggressive, and ready to conquer. And when Germany finally invaded Poland in 1939, the illusion shattered. The world realized what Hitler had truly built. Not an economic miracle, but a weapon of war. So basically, Germany's economic rise under the Nazis remains one of history's most deceptive success stories. What looked like recovery was really rearmament. What looked like unity was really control. And what looked like hope was a countdown to destruction. From the ruins of the Great Depression, Hitler had created an empire built on lies, fear, and steel, an empire that would soon drag the entire world into darkness. Thank you for watching The Lost Archive. If you haven't seen the previous parts of this Germany series, make sure to check them out first. They give full context to this rise. And as always, don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic history documentaries right here on The Lost Archive.